A blowpipe being around 3 to 5 mil is around 1 to 3 DPS less than an item that's worth 1 bill. Hey guys, it's Bush, and today I'm going to go over this week's RuneScape updates. At the end, we will also be talking about balancing changes, but in the beginning, I want to talk about what actually entered the game today, January 27th, 2021. So, beginning, as you guys can see, they did a Shades of Morton rework. I'm not going to be reading through this we're just going to try to get to the bottom of the information and make this video as short and sweet as possible for you guys. So, what did they do to Shades of Morton? Well, they completely changed the way it looks. This old style, just whatever they had back in the day, this beautiful new thing. I really like the layout. It looks a lot better. They talk about how it matches with Barrows and other dungeons in the area. I agree with that, and I think it's great stuff. But what did they actually add besides just some cosmetic dungeon rework? Well, they added a new shade, and as we get into later, they added some new rewards. The new shade is a Urim remains, and that matches with Redwood Pyrologs, because before we used magic Pyrologs and we got like silver keys, so now we're getting golden keys. Then the golden keys opens up new chests, and that gives some new unique items. Obviously, there's the old Amulet of the Damned, Flame, Tar Bag, and whatnot, but now we have some new rewards. They also added a new creature in the area called Zombie Zealots. Basically, they drop a item like their bone that you use on an altar, and it allows you to recharge your prayer at that altar. It's basically like a charge for the altar, so they didn't add an unlimited altar in the shade area. They added an altar that you can charge and then you can use. So that's a cool way to give people prayer restoration while they're doing this activity, but also doesn't just make this activity easier because you have to spend some time grinding to make them. They also added some new rewards, as I said earlier, the wearable coffin. It's a little cosmetic, it's cool and all, but really what it does is it allows you to store shade remains in it. So there's different ones correlating to the different levels of shades. The lower level one, you can only put 3 shade remains in, but from the gold, the top level one, you can put a full inventory's worth 28 shades. So that's going to make this minigame a lot easier for people. You basically do the minigame, you get this reward, and then this reward helps you continue to do the minigame. I like that. That's cool. They also added prayer robes. It's not a bonus XP outfit like the other skilling outfits, but it's a chance to save a bone, chance to save it in sold heads. So rather than giving you bonus XP for using the items, they give you a small chance, 1.25% per item, total of 5% for full set, of saving the bone. So I think that's really cool. And, you know, that is technically bonus XP, but it's also GP saving, so it helps out a lot and doesn't devalue old methods. But it does stack with the wildy, so if you're willing to risk this untradeable outfit in the wilderness above 20 where you lose it, then you get really, really good effects, which is cool. Niche, but good. Swamp Bark and Blood Bark recipes, they added some new Split Bark variants. So you basically take old Split Bark. To get Swamp Bark, you charge it with nature runes at the nature altar, and that allows your freeze effects on the standard spellbook, Bind, Snare, and Entangle, to last 1 tick longer per piece equipped. So it says here, this chart, Bind goes from 8 ticks to 13 ticks. Snare goes from 16 ticks to 21 ticks. Entangle goes from 24 ticks to 29 ticks. Basically, it's what? That's 5 extra ticks, which is just over or around 4 seconds, really 3, because it's 0.6 seconds per tick. So yeah, it's exactly 3 seconds you get additional on your binds, but it doesn't stack with Ice Barrage, which is still the meta for freezing. It's still going to be more effective than Entangle with the new armor. So that's cool, allowing some bind, snares, and entangles to be more effective in the wilderness for a different level PK. I think that's cool. Then the Blood Bark, you combine Blood Runes with Split Bark at the Blood Altar, and that gives you something that increases the healing of blood spells. So you have to equip the items, 1.5% more healing per piece, but it caps out at 32.5% more hit. stored. I think that's going to be really cool, but I don't think it's going to be useful that many locations, but it would be really cool to see where this is worthwhile. I know people don't bring anything with them to decays, like any mage armor with them to decays. Maybe this is good enough healing, but if it's only 1.5% per piece, maybe not. So this is going to be interesting to see where that fits in. Maybe making some solo stuff easier, maybe not. Don't really know. But it's cool. They also say right here that the XP from crafting these sets are going to be super small. It's not supposed to be a trading method. I think that's addressing like the crystal armor being made for super ridiculous XP per hour at an extremely high cost. I think they're trying to make this not be that. So I think that's very viable. And then they also mention here that now you can craft split bark. And that's really cool. They're thinking about bringing craftable split bark with a potential new skill. The skill never got brought to Old School RuneScape, which I'm happy about. But being able to craft split bark is a really nice thing. Very niche, but it's very cool. So I'm glad that they're bringing that into the crafting skill outside of an entirely new skill. So that's really cool. Now we get into equipment balancing, beta reworks, and whatnot. I'm not going to really go through exactly what they're talking about here. I didn't really read this, but they're basically saying now we have World 401 and 407 that you can test it all in. This is how you do everything. And they just want us to test the new balancing changes. The crystal armor, the black d'hide armor, and the blowpipe. It's going to be really, really interesting to see how these changes affect the game. But I'm really looking forward to it. I'm going to bring up a comparison chart on screen right now that was posted in the poll or blog from yesterday about the updated blowpipe changes and my thoughts about them. So first off, I want to say I'm very happy that Jagex has decided to rebalance the game. I do agree that blowpipe has been too powerful since it was released. It's kind of shitty that they made new pieces of content around the current blowpipe meta, and now the blowpipe meta is going to be changed, so the content as a result will be changed. But I don't think that's a bad thing, and I think for the overall health of the game, it's going to be good. I think currently, with the new additions of all of the gear, Inferno is so much easier now than it was when it originally came out years ago. So the fact that now it's going to be slightly harder than it was yesterday will probably make it comparable to how it originally was, if not still slightly easier because of things like the volatile ore. Just this year. But I do understand how people that don't have a lot of money in RuneScape are upset that their main hand ranged weapon will no longer be that powerful. But I'm here to tell you guys that it's still going to be powerful. If you do not have a Dragon Hunter crossbow, an Armadillo crossbow, or a Twisted bow, the blowpipe will be the best ranged weapon still. A rune crossbow will not outclass a blowpipe the majority of locations. Maybe we will see with Dragon Diamond Bolts E rune crossbows being comparable to blowpipe against Vorkath and maybe Olm, but I highly doubt that. I still think blowpipes is going to be better than rune crossbows. I think you're not going to see blowpipes become useless until you get to an Armadillo crossbow or Dragon crossbow. I do think Dragon crossbow prices are going to go up as a result. I do think Armadillo crossbows and Dragon Hunter crossbows are going to go up as a result, but I still think blowpipes are going to be used. It's not a big deal. People are still going to use it. It's still going to be worthwhile. And it allows Dragon crossbows to be worthwhile. Dragon crossbows as of a week or so ago were 1 mil a piece. That's unacceptable. I think that Dragon crossbows should be more expensive considering they're dropped through an endgame monster locked behind an endgame quest. I don't think they should be the meta, right? T-bow's the meta, that's great. But blowpipe shouldn't outclass crossbows everywhere. And that's what this is doing. It's also making the Twisted Buckler sort of more useful. Because people are using crossbows, or will be using crossbows more. Now they're looking for a ranged offhand. Nobody's going to be selling their blowpipe and buying a twisted bow. There's no correlation between blowpipe being slightly nerfed and twisted bow becoming useful everywhere even more. Everybody that has a twisted bow has used a twisted bow. Everybody that can afford a twisted bow has a twisted bow. But people that have blowpipes cannot afford twisted bows. So the meta that they're playing by should not be a 1 DPS difference from a 1 bill item that we see now. A blowpipe being around 3 to 5 mil is around 1 to 3 DPS less than an item that's worth 1 bill. And that's unacceptable, and that's what Jagex is addressing, and those are just briefly my thoughts on it. Please comment down below all the shit that you disagree with that I just said, because these are opinions and everyone's entitled to their own opinion, and I would like to know your opinion. If you liked the video, hit the like button. If you want to see future videos, hit the subscribe button, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace out.